What's up, y'all? Kyle Hamilton here. I want to give a quick shout out to Lucas, Connor, and Ryan in the Week 0 podcast.
Jackson rolling out, 3rd and 7 after the penalty, and it's a completion to Kuma. He's still running. Kuma breaks free against a tired defense as the Hokies deliver the dagger here in Tallahassee. Empty look for Richardson. Oh, that is danger! Oh my! Keidron Smith cuts inside, and he's gonna pick six it in the swamp. Cat scratch fever Smith.
DJ is picked off, intercepted again by Benjamin Morrison. Here goes Morrison down the sideline. Can he go? Yes, he can. Touchdown, pick six, Benjamin Morrison. Nix drops back underneath. Touchdown, Ducks. Wow. Chase Cota.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Goaltender. I am your host, Ryan Fravel, with my co-host at Sean, Sean at ND Forever on Twitter. Sean, rough weekend to say the least. We got some positive news out of the weekend, but we also have, obviously, the game of the week that everyone was tuned into. Not go the way it's planned. Anyways, man, how are you holding up?
Yeah, good. I mean, like, it was a heartbreaker for sure, right? But I told my wife, I said, you know what? I sat there for a minute in silence and was like, I can't be mad right now.
Yeah.
I can't. You could already see the difference in Marcus Freeman's 3 games against top 10 opponents, Oklahoma State, Clemson, and Ohio State. All 3 either won or lost by 1 score. Completely different than what Brian Kelly has brought to the table.
Yeah.
I mean, how could you be mad? I mean, I can't blame the refs. I think it was pretty even both ways, period. I mean, yeah, there were some miscues, the missed field goal, the drop picks. Those were frustrating. The 10-man on the field, obviously. But something that made me feel better, what I didn't know, is I saw someone say that Ohio State Notre Dame had 2 plays with 10 people on the field, right?
Yep.
On the first play, on that pass play, Ohio State had 10 people on the field.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me feel better in a sense, saying I kind of understand now why you might be a little confused in that situation, because Ohio State has 10, you have 10, then they come in with 11, you have 10. I understand. That's a little confusing. Is it still frustrating? Hell yeah, it is. But I can't be mad. We lost with 1 second left in a great game. Like, it's a great game. You come out, you win or you lose, right? And at least it was a good game.
Yeah. I mean, like, overall, I thought the game,
I told my wife on that last drive, if Notre Dame does not get a first down there, Ohio State's going to score to win the game.
Yeah. I mean, being at the game personally, I know Ohio State fans were all over me for saying this. I thought Notre Dame looked like the better team for the majority of this game.
Yeah.
I know we were down 10-0, but let's be real here. If Notre Dame gets the first down that Sam Hartman definitely got on that 4th and 1 or 4th.
Yeah, that was a big thing for me.
Yeah, like, you call that, first of all, like, we'll get into the refs, but you call it a first down. You give Notre Dame all the momentum on the first drive of the game, and then you review it.
I get the review. I mean, actually, my wife, looking at the review, sat there and told me that he's short 100%. And I said, I don't think so, because I think before his foot stepped out, he was kind of reaching a bit. And I said it was too close to change. But my wife was adamant. She's like, he did not get that 100%.
Yeah.
So I get the overturn of my eyes with that. The big thing for me, thank you. The big thing for me is that missed field goal right down the middle. I mean, that was like a 30, 40-yard field goal. You were right down the middle, buddy. That was a chip shot. I mean, a little long for a chip shot, but I mean, you had it aimed right down the middle.
Yeah, here it is. Here it is right here. So
that shit was right there. And he said, boom.
See, I feel like the ball is right there. He got
right
it.
there before he steps out.
Right there. That is a first down.
Go back and pause it for a sec.
Yeah, I'll go back. Hold on.
See, the thing is like, yeah, it was behind him, but as before his foot touches out, he starts to move it forward.
Let's go there. So they show where he needs to get to. This is a first down. So that's the line he needs to get to. Watch his foot, and then watch where the ball is.
Before his foot steps out.
Yeah.
Just be careful. We'll say when he's out.
Yeah.
He's out. Pause. That ball is across the line.
Yeah. How is that not a first down? How is that not a first down?
I get it. I mean, he's out of bounds, but he hasn't stepped out yet, so technically he's not out.
And this is where he needed to get to. This line marker right here. I don't understand the thought process behind that.
That was frustrating for me in the game, during the game. But hear this.
Yeah.
Lyndon, who's my wife, like I said, she was adamant that he didn't get the first down.
Yeah, see, I completely disagree. I mean,
this pissed me the fuck off.
No, what? Spencer Schrader missing the field
goal? I mean, yeah, it was a 47-yard, but come on, man. Like,
that was a 50-something yarder in the other game. Like, well, you can't hit a 47-yarder.
And I'm going to say this, though. The defense played stout. I mean, you get a 3rd and stop. You get a 4th and goal stop. Defense played great. Now, that last drive, 3rd and 19, didn't get it, drop picks. That was frustrating. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it felt like, you know, the thing for me where it's frustrating, if Sam Hartman had another year, I think I'd be okay. But where I'm frustrated is like, are we wasting his year? I mean, a part of me is like, oh, he's the thing that can give us a championship, especially in a year like this. But you know what? I mean, if we went out and win a New Year's Six Bowl, is that a failure with Hartman? I don't think so. Because Sam Hartman, if we win a New Year's Six Bowl, that's the first time since 1993, 1994. So I think that's a huge deal if we win a New Year's Six Bowl, especially going into a year with a 12-team playoff.
Yeah, I mean, as we're watching, Ben Morrison go up, head-to-head with Marvin Harrison, after this game, I'm kind of in the same boat with you about Hartman, but I found myself like, are we wasting a year of Ben Morrison? Because let's be real. Dude, let's be real. Ben Morrison, and I know people will debate on this, Ben Morrison is the best cornerback in all of college football. He's going to be a first-round pick next year.
I don't say we're wasting a year because, he's still being developed. He's still got one more year left, right?
But with the team he has around him right now, do you think CJ Carr
are you saying next year the team's not going to be good?
No, not that, but because I fully expect CJ Carr to come in as a true freshman and win the job. That's what I expect.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
That's what I want. But I got a gut feeling it's Steve Angeli. And I don't know. That makes my stomach in knots a little bit.
I feel like we're going to have another Ian Book situation if we have Steve Angeli.
So, you know what? Where I'm frustrated is, you know what? It's just a great game. It really was. Oh, classic Notre Dame. But this isn't classic Notre Dame. Like,
I saw people still say, Notre Dame can't ever win the big game. They always choke. But you know what? What people said before was, well, Notre Dame gets blown out in the big games.
You close the gap. Listen, we went from getting blown out to losing close. What happens after losing close? You win close.
Those games.
You win close. What happens after you win close? You win blowouts, right? I think the refs called a fair game.
I don't know, man. On that Travion Henderson play, people showed it. Marvin Harrison got away with the hold.
I guarantee you Come on, like there's missed calls throughout the whole game.
And I thought Ohio State definitely got away with a lot of PIs and holdings on their DBs because people are saying, well, why isn't Notre Dame throwing the ball deep? Well, the times we did throw the ball deep, our receivers were getting mugged down the sideline, and there was no call.
I think the big thing for me is
Yeah.
I actually think it's a very fair game. I thought the refs were very even. I thought the announcing was very even. I thought that it was just a hard-fought game. And I had a friend tell me this, and it did frustrate me a little. He said, this didn't feel like a game between 6 and 9. He said, this felt like a game between, let me say, 12 and 18. And I said, what do you mean? He said, it was like it just looked like that kind of game. And I said, let me tell you this. All because the game was not 45-42 between the number 6 and 19 does not make it not a good game.
Oh, no, this was a classic. I've seen people say this was the best game of the season so far.
Yeah, if it was 45-42, what would people be saying? Both defenses suck, right? It was a 17-14 game, defensive battle, who scored a touchdown with 1 second left. That's a great fucking game. I am not mad. I mean, I'm not mad. I'm super proud of this team hanging in there.
And also, real quick, let me talk about this play. This should have been an interception. What is with our team not being able to get jump balls like that? Should have been a pick.
That was one of the 2 times where when I saw him start running, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I was pissed, bro. I was pissed. But he was down, and it made me happy. But look at this. I mean, my problem is this. When Notre Dame had that ball in the last drive, they got a first down. Then Estime ran for a first down. Hartman got like -6 yards, whether it was a sack or a read option, whatever he wants to call it, whatever it was, he lost like 6 yards. The thing is here, people hate the screen call. Now, I don't like the first down call. I felt like you run it with Estime there. But people are mad about the screen call. I think that's a brilliant play call in that situation.
And if it was dude, it was executed perfectly with the exception of blocking.
If he catches that or throws it a little over him, that's either a touchdown or that ends the game. That was a brilliant play call, and I hate how people say it was stupid because it didn't work out. He just made Ohio State just made a very good play. Very, very good play defensively. So, I mean, it hurts. And I hate how people say, too, now, I don't want them to wear the green jerseys anymore. I loved it. I mean, just because I hate when Notre Dame fans are blue, gold, green. You don't even know who the fuck is there. This way, we knew this was a Notre Dame game with all that green there. I like the green out. I think it should be an every year thing. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, I personally think these are my favorite green jerseys.
This was fucking legit. I went crazy.
When this happened, I thought game was over. We were actually, me and the Week Zero podcast boys, we're jumping up and down, hugging each other, high-fiving. And also, what the hell is Sam doing on this play?
That's the play for me.
What is Sam doing on that play?
Also, my question is this. If they didn't throw a screen there and they ran the ball, that
they don't have time. They don't have time. That's 40 seconds off the clock.
Yeah.
So that way they'd get the ball back with what? 50-some seconds left? And have to go the length of the field?
It's interesting. At first, when they got the first down at the 1 yard line, I was like, yes, he's short. And then for a split second, I forgot I was watching college football. And I was like, yeah, the clock stops. What an idiot.
That's where you should, as a fan,
he
you're like,
barely got that.
Yeah, too, which is insane. They showed the replay at the game, and some of us originally thought he was short. It was really close.
Yeah, really close. I think he was in.
We'll see. So here it is right here. So the ball's coming out, which is insane. Can you imagine if he made that fumble on the goal line? If you're Notre Dame?
He's in. Yeah, it's a touchdown. But what a great game. I mean, that's fucking fantastic, bro. I mean, we lost with 1 second left. How could you be mad about that? It was just a great game. It happens. Of course you'd want to win and be on the other side of it, but man, what a game. right?
Another thing I wanted to mention about this game, and then we'll kind of move on to our other stuff. Notre Dame's season's not over. That is not over. I've seen Notre Dame fans say, well, 11-1 Notre Dame team's not making it in. 11-1 Notre Dame team gets in. I don't care what anybody says, but how tough our schedule is. We got to play USC, Ohio State, Duke now on the road. You got to go play Clemson. I know Clemson's got 2 losses, but that game's on the road. We got to go on the road at a Louisville team that's undefeated right now. And if they win this week, we'll probably be ranked. I mean,
I talked about this with my friend earlier, and we had a discussion. And I'm going to be completely fucking honest here, right? Yeah. I wish, and I said before the season, 11-1 Notre Dame gets in. If Clemson was Clemson, I would say yes. But here's and I'm going to be pretty in-depth here, so give me a minute. Let's just say, hypothetically, Georgia and Michigan, right? Georgia and Michigan go undefeated because who the fuck are they playing, right? Let's just say it. Georgia and Michigan undefeated, right?
Yep.
Then you got the Pac-12, which is fucking disgusting this year. I mean, that's the best conference in college football, right? But let's just say, hypothetically, Florida State goes undefeated. 3 undefeated teams. Or let's say Florida State goes 12-1 and wins the ACC. I'm just going to say they're in. Let's say it's between Notre Dame and Ohio State somehow for that 4th spot. You better fucking put Ohio State in, period. Because here's why. You say, they beat us.
I think Notre Dame, if you actually watch the game, and ESPN's been pushing this narrative since the game happened, Notre Dame handed the game to Ohio State more than Ohio State.
It doesn't matter. I mean, here's the thing for me. I agree they did. But you can't be that biased in that situation. If Notre Dame and Ohio State have the same record and Notre Dame lost to Ohio State, they should be in. I expect the same thing, though. If it's down to a 12-1 USC, who's a Pac-12 champion.
And Notre Dame has that 11-1 Notre Dame team over a Pac-12 champion.
11-1, Notre Dame should be in over USC. They'd be head-to-head is important. There's a reason why we play the games. If you lose the games.
Well, what about back in, was it 2016 when Penn State had the win over Ohio State?
I don't agree with it. I felt like Penn State should have been in that year. How do you win the Big Ten? You have the same amount of losses.
They had 2 losses. Ohio State had 1.
Same amount of wins. It was 11-2 Penn State, 11-1 Ohio State. They won the conference Ohio State was in, and they beat Ohio State. Crazy. This is why the 12-team playoff next year is going to be so.
See, I feel like this year would have been the perfect year to have a 12-team playoff because.
Agreed. Washington, Ohio State, Oregon, Notre Dame, all these teams would be fucking legit. This would be the best.
I mean, you can't tell me. Well, you can. When's the last time you've been able to tell me point blank, Sean? If Notre Dame played Georgia right now, I think Notre Dame would have a legit shot at winning that football game.
Oh yeah, I think Notre Dame could beat
anybody in the top 10. Notre Dame could beat.
I would say the only teams that would worry me right now in the top 10 are.
No, I'm not saying you couldn't be worried, but I mean like Notre Dame would have a shot.
Yeah,
to win.
Yeah. The only team that I would probably say no right now to is maybe Oregon or Washington.
Oregon struggled with Texas Tech. That's 1-3.
That's true.
So I kind of back on that, but
I mean, let's think about this for a sec, right? Hypothetically.
Yep.
I agree. I think 11-1 Notre Dame team should get in. It just depends because if there's a 12-1 Florida State who won the ACC. Florida State's got to go in. They won their conference. They have the 12-1. They're getting in over Notre Dame. It's going to happen. I want to get my hopes up. I do. But after the game, I told my wife, I was like, I don't see a realistic path right now. I'm very glad that we dropped to 11. Paul said it on the 5 Foot Nothing podcast. If you're listening, Paul, great. That he feels that they put us at 11 as a joke about the 11 man on the field. But it's tough because you look at the top 10. The Pac-12 will probably cannibalize itself, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be some upsets. Georgia might not go undefeated.
The Big Ten's going to come down to Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. But the thing is, that whole situation figures itself out because Penn State's got to play both.
Okay.
So,
but if let's say Michigan beats Ohio State, right? Let's say they do. Ohio State's going to get ahead of us. That's just how it should be. Obviously, I think we should be with this schedule. I think this is one of the hardest Notre Dame schedules that we've had. It's just with that, I guarantee you, if we were in a conference like the ACC, I would be like, yeah, I see it. But being independent, that's going to be a big struggle this year, which is why the 12-team playoff.
Do you think if Notre Dame doesn't get in at 11-1 because of not being in a conference, that maybe makes Notre Dame think more about joining a conference?
Not with the 12-team playoff. Not with the 12 team,
Okay.
because they can get in at 11-1 in the 12-team playoff easily. So
I mean,
it's tough because look at me. Who do you think is the best team in the Pac-12? We'll just say that. Just give me the best team.
right now, probably Washington.
Agreed. What do you think their record will be at the end? Do you think one loss?
Maybe 2, because of how tough the conference is.
But if they're the best team, there's going to be one Pac-12 team that comes out of there with 1 or 2 losses. It's going to be close.
Know.
They're going to cannibalize each other, but that conference is really good. But let's just say they go 1 loss. Texas, I looked at Texas' schedule. If they get past Oklahoma, they could win.
What do you mean, Sean? If they get past Kansas this weekend?
We'll see. But if they get past Oklahoma next week, who do they play? Right?
Yeah.
It's I just don't. I mean, we need some big upsets to happen.
See, I think I'm not too worried about it. So I think the Big Ten handles itself. They all play each other in the regular season, and I think the Pac-12 handles itself. I think they cannibalize each other. But my question to you is, say you do have a 2-loss Pac-12 champion with how tough that conference is, and you got 11-1 Notre Dame, and you got 1 spot left, but it's not USC. Does Notre Dame get in over them?
That 2-loss team lose to USC while we beat USC. But no, I've always been adamant that a 2-loss team should never be in the 4-team college football playoff, except for that Penn State team, just because of how the situation arose. And maybe even Auburn if that year they beat 3 straight number 1s and they lost the SEC championship. But I don't think a 2-team playoff should ever be in the 4-team, period. There's just too many good teams that win the other games. But if Notre Dame, I mean, that's a tough task to ask because I think this team is still focused on Ohio State right now.
Yeah.
I'm still focused on Ohio State. How could they not be focused on? I'm still sitting here thinking about Ohio State when we play Duke in 2 days. Like, I think they're stuck on it. And I could see this being an upset.
You think they come out flat against Duke?
I could see it. But let's see. This is where we're going to see how Freeman is. Because if they come out flat, is he motivating them? If they come out with a fire, Freeman's legit. I've always felt like Freeman is legit.
I'll tell you this right now. I don't think Hartman's going to come out flat because what Hartman said immediately after the game was, I told the guys in the locker room right after the game, they're like, what was your message? He said, got to move on. And all our goals are still in front of us for this year.
Hey, I'm going to be completely honest. And if you're a Notre Dame fan and you disagree, that's insane. I think a New Year's Six Bowl win is a win this year.
Yeah, I told you New Year's Six or bust.
Yeah, I mean, I think a New Year's Six. I mean, we only fell 2 spots, which is amazing. So if we win out, I mean, if we win this week, we'll probably be in the top 10.
Oh, yeah, because, Utah plays at Oregon State at night. They actually play tomorrow night. That'll be that Utah will probably go down in that game because the Cam Rising's not sounding like he's going to go.
I do have Oregon State winning that game.
Yeah,
I think my upsets this week are Kentucky winning, Utah losing, and then I had Ole Miss beating LSU.
Yeah. All right, let's get into our other topics because we've went a little too long. But
I mean, how could you not after that game?
Yeah, exactly. First things first, let's talk about the 3 new commitments that Notre Dame landed over the past weekend.
Would it have been more if we won that game?
Probably. Let's start with 4-star running back Daniel Anderson out of Arkansas. What do you think about this kid? And what do you think about this commitment for Notre Dame, Sean?
We needed 2 running backs. Great compliment to the Terminator. We just got our 2 running backs in the class. That's all I really got to say about that. We got our 2 running backs.
Yeah. I mean, do you think what if you had to give him a comp to a current running back on Notre Dame's team? What comp would you give him?
Devin Ford?
Ooh. Okay. Why? What about his game kind of screams Devin Ford to you?
He seemed more of a compliment back than a full-grown starter, and I don't see him being that Audric Estime, being that Josh Adams, being that
Jeremiah
Connor
Love?
Williams. Yeah, Jeremiah Love. I don't see him. I think Terminator's more like that. I see him as a compliment back. How we have some guys coming in like a Jabron Payne type player. I don't see Jabron Payne ever being our number one back, but I see him coming in a lot and being successful for us. Not saying he's not a good player. He's a great player. And I mean, I never thought that Logan Diggs would be as successful as he was. I felt like he was a 4-star when he was a 3-star, but still. So, but I don't know if that's a bad thing to say, but I just feel like he's a great compliment back.
Yeah, I like Daniel Anderson a lot. But my thing is anytime you can get a kid out of SEC country, especially in Arkansas. I mean, when's the last time Notre Dame got a kid from Arkansas? I think it's been a while. I think it's still a really good pickup, and it's really, a solid kid. And I think he can definitely contribute at Notre Dame. But let's go next up. One of the biggest commitments over the week, probably the biggest, the headliner, 4-star edge rusher CJ May, Notre Dame, one of Notre Dame's top targets on the edge rusher market. What were your thoughts about this? I know Deuce Knight is good friends with CJ. CJ was not planning on committing on this trip, but Deuce got it done. So,
yeah, I mean, he saw what Notre Dame was about. That atmosphere was insane. I mean, 5% chance to land him from all those SEC teams, and he felt like Notre Dame was home. This is a big commitment. I see if I had to compare him to a player, it would be that's tough. I would compare him probably to a Joshua Burnham.
Yeah.
I think he's a little raw, but I think he can be a great developmental piece coming in and make an immediate impact. And Freeman seems to think he'll make an immediate impact as well.
I mean, he's from Alabama, Sean, and we pulled him out of Alabama. And the story goes that he was actually looking at Auburn for his school, and Notre Dame to, kind of come out of nowhere and land a commitment from him.
Yeah.
I think he's a monster. I think he's going to be insane at Notre Dame.
I think he could be a 5-star talent by the time we're done with this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we could have used him against Ohio State. But no, man, can we talk about the job that Deuce Knight is doing recruiting so far?
Yeah.
Only being a commit for a week and a half.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing a great job. It helps that Ohio State game happened, right?
Yeah.
Makes it a lot easier.
I mean, and the thing I like about Deuce is it's been said that he's an aggressive recruiter.
Yeah.
He's not like CJ Carr. CJ Carr's a great recruiter, but CJ Carr's more developing relationships with these guys and getting close. And
it's
Deuce
saying what to do, think big. Right.
Yeah.
And he's but he's not as aggressive. He's more like, hey, this is a great option. I would do it. Deuce Knight's like, you better fucking come right now. Yeah.
Deuce Knight's he said he had a couple recruits at the Notre Dame Ohio State game, and they were just talking about schools, and they had a couple guys say, man, I'm really thinking about this school or this school. And he's like, dude, that school doesn't even compare to Notre Dame. What are you doing? That is the type of recruiter I think Notre Dame needs, because I think it goes hand in hand with Marcus Freeman.
Yeah.
I mean, Deuce, I could tell recruiting is important to Deuce Knight just as important as it is to Marcus Freeman.
I will say there's something I want to talk about.
Yep.
Let's say that if CJ Carr or Kenny Minchie does start next year, Deuce Knight's not seeing in the field for 2-3 years, if that's the case.
You don't think Deuce even gets a shot?
I think it's a shot, but let's say CJ Carr balls out as a freshman. and then he goes to the draft after a junior year kind of thing. I mean, he better hope that situation's wide open, or just stay and be developed. That's what I would do. I think he can be developed into a great quarterback with his potential.
I personally think that CJ Carr has the higher floor.
No, I think,
but I think Deuce Knight has the higher upside.
Yep. What's the next commitment?
Next commitment, final one of the day. Joseph Reif, another defensive lineman out of Illinois, out of Elmhurst, Illinois.
None of these were projected to go to Notre Dame when they happened, which is amazing.
Yep. I mean, he came out of nowhere and committed to the Irish as another big get for defensive line for Notre Dame.
He'll be a 4-star.
Yeah, he's almost borderline a 4-star right now, just on the outside looking in. What did you think about this commit for Notre Dame?
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
He's a big boy. Yeah.
I mean, what do you think about him? You think that he could be a contributor along that defensive line?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think he's be an interior defensive lineman is where I see him.
Yeah.
I think they'll use him more D tackle, and I think that that room's wide open right now for defensive tackle and development. So I think that he can come in smooth sailing. I mean, he's a big boy. He's gonna be successful. Is he related to Riley Reif?
I'm not sure.
Probably not.
Yeah, and to the Golden Playbook's point here, can we talk about for a minute how far Marcus Freeman has changed this program from just a year ago?
I will say that he started getting his players defensively as a defensive coordinator, right? Now this is his first year, last year of a head coach, just freshman class. Then next year's class comes in. That's 3 years. That's why I'm wondering if Steve Angeli, that situation is going to be interesting. People think they go to the portal next year, and I'm going to be honest. I think that's a big mistake. You don't want to tell your quarterback room that 3 of the last 4 years that we're bringing in a transfer quarterback.
I think it depends. I think it depends on who it is. I think if it's like a guy the caliber of Sam Hartman, I think you do it.
Well, of course, if Sam Hartman came knocking at the door again, why the fuck not? But
like if randomly Drake May's like, hey, I want to go to the NFL for some reason, it'd be a stupid decision. When Drake May's like, man, I want to enter the portal.
I would nut all over this fucking like that's fucking crazy. No, I'm pretty high on Drake May myself. I think he's.
But if a guy like Graham Mertz enters the portal and he's like, hey, I want to no.
I think we should give the young quarterbacks a shot and develop them with game experience. A Kenny Minchie, a CJ Carr. Have them come in. Yeah, they might struggle early, but develop them through the years and then be a super top team.
My thing is, I think a part of it's who does going to start is experience, because looking at the schedule, week 1, we got to go on the road at Texas A&M.
Yes, but who the fuck else we play? Florida State, and that's it. And Florida State's going to be without Jordan Travis. That schedule is weak sauce, bro. That's the weakest schedule I've seen Notre Dame have. And I love it for a year like we're having. 12-team playoff is the perfect year to have a shitty schedule. But I don't know if I like Steve Angeli. He just feels like a Brian Kelly quarterback. Maybe Sam Hartman develops him some stuff and makes him the next big thing. And I haven't seen it yet. And holy shit, he proves me wrong. But I just don't see. I agree. I could see CJ Carr come. I mean, I thought Buckner would start as a freshman. And he did come in.
But let's be real, CJ Carr is better than Tyler Buckner.
I love Tyler Buckner.
And see, also, Sean, another thing is with the comment about once he gets rid of the Brian Kelly classes, we've seen it already. I mean, no offense to Audric Estime, no offense to Jadarian Price, or not Jadarian Price, and all these guys, and like Jaden Thomas and Deion Colsey. But we started to see Freeman is starting these true freshmen. Or not starting, but putting these guys at Rico Flores. Tobias Merriweather is a sophomore. We're seeing Jaden Greathouse. I mean, Jeremiah Love's getting it.
I hope
under Brian Kelly, Under Brian Kelly, we don't see that.
Yeah.
We don't see that.
Is it under Freeman or is it under Sam Hartman?
I think it's under Freeman. I think that's why he wants to play his guys, his recruits that he recruited, and get them on the field early. And I think that this is where the CJ Carr situation, I think Stephen Jelly's got the experience factor. But I think Freeman thinks of it more of, well, I didn't recruit you. You weren't my kid. I'm going to go with the guys that I recruited here.
I mean, I hope so. I would love it if CJ Carr. I would rank it in my preference: CJ Carr, Kenny Minchie, Stephen Jelly.
I mean, I personally would think Stephen Jelly, the best thing for him would be to transfer out. And then
he's
Notre
not
Dame.
going to do that, though, because that quarterback room is wide open.
Yeah. And then Notre Dame get a transfer quarterback that's just kind of a guy in the room, I guess.
We'll see. I mean, we're still on this year, so I think off-season is where we'll get concerned about that. But what do you let's end it with the Duke game. Let's talk about this.
Let's talk about Duke. So, obviously, Duke, they got Riley Leonard, who a lot of people think is the third best quarterback in this class.
It's a deep-ass quarterback class.
That's a deep quarterback class. Hopefully my Broncos can tank, get the first overall pick that I just found out we do actually have a first this year. So let's go.
I thought y'all traded in.
No, somehow we got a first. So if we tank, we get the first round pick and we get Caleb Williams.
I'm hoping my Cardinals get Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. So I think we're going to pair the two. So we'll see. I would be fine too if the Cardinals got Drake.
Do you think if the Broncos, even though with the money we're paying Russ, you think that if we get the first overall pick, we take Caleb Williams no matter what? Or do you take a receiver?
I don't even give a shit if it's the Chiefs. If it's the Chiefs with the first fucking pick, you pick Caleb Williams.
Be like, you're going to sit behind Patrick Mahomes for years.
Dude, you could fucking trade him for whatever the fuck you want. You can trade that first overall pick if you're the Chiefs and get fucking first round pick this next year. You can probably get a fucking Garrett Wilson and
because my thing is like, if we get the first round pick, I'd like to take Caleb Williams, but I'd also think with the money we're putting into Russell Wilson, I'd like to maybe get Marvin Harrison, like maybe trade down and get Marvin Harrison and another first.
Caleb Williams is a generational prospect.
But I don't know how I'd feel about that being a Notre Dame fan. Like, honestly, like I'd be like,
you know what? I'm a Cardinals fan. I'm like, shit, give me Caleb Williams. That dude a beast. I wish Notre Dame had Caleb Williams.
Hey, take Sam Hartman and put him on the Broncos practice squad.
We'll see how he gets drafted. So, but yeah, I mean, this Duke game is going to be interesting. Is Notre Dame focused for Duke?
Duke is better than NC State for sure.
When I started this year, I've said it multiple times on the show before the season and during the season. When I was asked what was the one team that started the year unranked that I think would finish the year ranked, I picked Duke. Right? Yep. They're very talented, well coached. Mike Elko is a great coach. It's going to be a great game. But here's the thing. It was yesterday, and the coaches were still talking about Ohio State. Even the coaches are still on Ohio State. How are you on Ohio State but focusing for Duke? We're going to be without Deion Colzie with a knee scope. We're going to probably be without Jaden Thomas.
Oh, I didn't even realize Colzie was down.
Yeah, he's got a knee scope. And then we're going to be without Thomas. So,
well, you know what? I'll say this, Sean. I personally think Greathouse is the best receiver on the team. I think that.
I think Jaden Thomas, and just because of he can go up and get it.
I think Jaden Thomas, because of the experience, is. But I think if you're going off of based on pure talent, Jaden Greathouse. And I think that it's kind of disappointing that we don't see Greathouse on the field at all times.
I think we've used him very well this year so far. I mean, we're 5 games into the year.
I want to see what Hartman can do. We're most likely going to be running out as for starting 3 of Merriweather, Greathouse, and Flores. Who knows?
Tyree.
We might. And Tyree. But who knows? We might see Braylon James in this game. We could.
Matt Salerno more likely. So
Come on, man. Give me some Braylon James. I want to see. I want to see what he's got.
but I'm going to be honest. I mean, I don't know if the team's focused. I hope they are. I hope they come running. But this is going to be a close game, Notre Dame fans. Like, this is not going to be we're going to NC State. They said would be close after a loss against Ohio State at Duke. Yeah. Man, this is going to be a field goal touchdown.
It's at night. The Cameron Crazies are going to be out because it's game day.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
I mean,
you couldn't ask for a better situation, though.
Let me ask you this. Who do you think is the better quarterback in this matchup? We'll go down the line here.
Notre Dame.
I agree. Best running backs?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Best receivers?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Best offensive line?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. So it's 4-0. Best defensive line?
Notre Dame.
Oof. I don't know, man. That Duke defensive line is actually pretty good.
I don't know why I was thinking use tight ends. Notre Dame tight ends. Defensive line for Duke is very experienced. They're juniors and seniors. They know how to get to the quarterback and finish the job. So Duke. Yeah, linebackers, so Notre Dame. Defensive backs, Notre Dame. Special teams, Duke.
Yeah. So that's what, 8-2 Notre Dame?
If I had to say coaching, I'd still pick Notre Dame regardless of what happened last weekend.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we broke down the game. What's your prediction? What do you think? How do you think this game's going to play out for the Irish?
It just depends. I mean, because if you asked me to do this for Clemson and Duke, I would have said the same exact thing, right? 8-2. I see this being a 31-28 Notre Dame. Okay. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think we can kind of get it going, of course, but I think we're going to have some troubles slumped about Ohio State. I think Hartman finishes the job, gets us a win, and we start gaining momentum back into the top 10, hopefully finish the job. Now, my question is this. If we make a New Year's Six Bowl before we keep going, does Hartman sit out?
No. I don't think so.
If he does, that would be so shitty.
We get a chance to win a New Year's Six and Hartman sits out. Oh, I'd be pissed.
But, okay, how about this? If Hartman does sit out, which I don't think he does, and Angeli comes in and wins us a New Year's Six Bowl, would you be confident in him starting next year?
I don't know, man. I want to see CJ Carr for 3 years.
I mean, all right.
I want to see
prediction for the game. What's your prediction?
So based off of pure talent, this game should be a blowout. Okay.
Yeah.
Notre Dame should win this game by 21 plus. Like I think Duke's really good. My question is kind of what you said. How are you going to come into this game after the way you lost against Ohio State? My hope and what I think is going to happen is we're not going to see a Notre Dame team that comes out flat in the first half. We're going to see a Notre Dame team that's pissed off, aggravated, had been dwelling on that loss for an entire week. They get to play Duke on the road at night with game day there. And a chance to keep their playoff hopes alive. All the pressure's on them to keep the season going. I think we come out firing. I don't see, looking at our corners and what they did to Ohio State, it's offense and holding them to 17 points. Let's be real here. Duke's not going to get more points or more yards than Ohio State.
I think they
don't have the receivers. They don't have the running
quarterback, running game. And here's this, man. Like, if we're slumped, we were focused on Ohio State. If we're not as focused, they could easily take advantage.
No, I think Ben Morrison's going to, and our DBs are going to absolutely lock up.
I think DJ Brown gets an interception this game.
Yeah, he better. He better, man.
So I think he gets some redemption there.
But I think that what's going to end up happening is it's going to be Riley Leonard having to have a Heisman-esque effort for Duke to win this game. And I also think Notre Dame should be able to run down Duke's throat. Clemson in that game averaged damn near 7 yards a carry against Duke. But the reason they lost is they couldn't capitalize in the red zone. Notre Dame's not going to fumble 3 times on the goal line. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, knock on wood. Notre Dame's not going to do that 3 times. That's not happening. So I think Notre Dame wins this game with a score of 42-21. I think we get back in the 40s this game.
We'll see. We'll see. And then it's Louisville, and then it's USC, and my wife and I are super pumped about to go into the USC.
Hey, and we will both be at the USC game, correct?
Yep.
We will have to meet up and get that picture. I'll be there for sure. But all right, Sean, any other final thoughts before we get ready for Duke?
Let's bounce back. We got to finish this season strong. 11-1 season or bust. All right. We need to finish this season strong and win a New Year's Six bowl.
I like Dame, though. I think you guys are a good team who's getting better.
Agreed.
Okay, it's going to be – oh, there we go. Okay, so let's see. We'll read some of these comments real quick before we get out. They are the Fighting Irish, after all. Yes, they are. Duke is an interesting – yeah. Duke is an interesting team. I'm a Michigan fan, so I'm focused in on the Natty.
Well, good for you.
It's going to be tough, but I feel like we can beat Georgia. I think anybody can beat Georgia
this year. Jinx.
I do think we played better without Harbaugh. That's an interesting take right there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. It would be ridiculous if that happens. I feel they wasted him in the Ohio State game. That's why they brought him here. I was talking about Sam Hartman.
Yeah.
Sam Hartman, I believe.
Yeah, but what about Sam Hartman?
That if they don't win, that they're wasted him because this was the chance to win a Natty.
Yeah.
I like Doe. I think you guys are a good team who's getting better.
Yeah,
Golden Playbook got his prediction. I'm going to go 45-14 Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I'm going to the USC game as well. Okay, Golden Playbook. It's great, man. And then finally, is that at Indiana? Wait, what? Is that in Indiana, like home?
Yes, it's a home game.
Yeah.
Duke's an away game.
No, Duke's an away game. But all right, guys. Sean, another great show as always. We will be back next week with a special guest, special interview from one of the 3 Notre Dame commits this past weekend. Sean, I'll let you know in the DMs. But tune in on Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central, as we will have one of the Notre Dame commits from this past weekend on the show for another live interview, and as well as break down the game against Louisville and react to what's going on in the Duke game. But as always, guys, stay safe. Go